What's going on, guys? Luke here with Wilson Auto Detailing. I wanted to interrupt my interior process here on a car that I've never detailed before to show you what it looks like to deal with really nasty leather. There are a couple things that make leather hard when you're doing perforated leather. Number one, you've got a bunch of crumbs. This is where a child's kind of car seat sits. So you've got a ton of crumbs in all of the cracks and crevices that are not just crumbs that can be blown out with an air compressor. They're really stuck down in there. Number two, you've got a lot of staining on top of the leather. And so this is gonna take a lot of scrubbing to really get perfect. And number three, you've got perforated leather. So naturally you have some stuff kind of inside of the leather. What's the very first thing I do when I'm trying to take care of leather like this? The first thing I want to do is address the nastiest part. So we've got these two areas where the car seat sits, and it's kind of like the feet of the car seat. One right here, one right here. It's that indention that happens on a seat like this where you can see where they picked up the car seat. These areas get really, really dirty. I've got Interior Express Cleaner from P&S diluted 5:1 in here. This is my favorite leather cleaner, and I know this kind of sounds crazy, but I'm gonna spray the leather cleaner on top of these two indentions, and I'm gonna let it sit. Normally I would not let cleaners sit on leather, but because I know this leather is going to be fine, it's not going to get damaged when I do this, the cleaner is very safe, and this area needs to get loosened up. This dirt is super, super stuck. So I want to let that leather cleaner sit, and I want to take my toothbrush and just start to push it around a little bit. And it's going to get kind of messy, right? Because I'm breaking this stuff up for the first time, but I just want to push it around and get it kind of unstuck before I do anything else in this detail, because that's the area that's not just going to come out with kind of like general leather cleaning. So essentially, I just want to clean it first so that then I can attack everything else. So that would be my step one here. Now in my step two, I basically want to hit the majority of the seat. Now what's important to say with dirty leather seats is that, especially with a car seat, there's crumbs everywhere. I've already vacuumed up a bunch of this area. The reason why I'm okay with spraying liquid on top of some of these crumbs is because I've already done an initial vacuum, and the amount of crumbs here, it's not like a bunch of stuff that's going to turn into mud when I get it wet, right? It's just a few crumbs that'll vacuum up really easily after this. Now, I normally don't use quite this much leather cleaner. You can see about how much I use, maybe like 8 to 10 sprays, but because this is where the car seat sits, I do have to scrub a little bit, and it's easier to scrub if I have a little bit more cleaner on the seat. I like to have enough cleaner to where when I start to scrub with my non-abrasive scrub pad, I get some foam, okay? If I don't get any suds, I don't really have enough cleaner. So all I'm gonna do, not focusing on the seams, I'm just focusing on the body of the seat here. Now as I'm mopping up that just initial kind of general seat cleaning, I wanna make a note. In most leather seats, I would clean this front area. Why am I not having to clean this front area here? Well, think about it. This is where a car seat sits. There's no one that has legs that are hanging over this part of the seat. So cleaning this part of the seat doesn't make any sense because the baby is sitting in the car seat. So again, this is just how I save time in my detail, trying to think logically about some things. Now, after I've got this part of the seat cleaning done, I'm moving on to step number 3. I have to figure out how to get inside of these seams. The issue with getting in these seams with something like a toothbrush is that I'm just gonna be kind of pushing the crumbs around, and the toothbrush also is not gonna like really get into those areas the way I want to. This is where I pull out my steamer. A lot of people get afraid of a steamer in leather seats. What I'm gonna be doing is holding the steamer far enough away and moving it fast enough where I'm not gonna be stripping any of the color of the leather, but I'm gonna be pushing down on the seams like this, then taking my steamer in here to get in all of these cracks and crevices. And if I get really nervous about using the steamer, I can just pull away and dry it off to make sure I'm not damaging anything. But again, I've done this so many times at this point that I know for a fact I'm not gonna be damaging anything, and I'm just gonna use it to get in the tight area. Now, the next thing I can do to make sure that I'm not overusing the steamer is I can take my cleaner, just get a little bit of cleaner in the crack that I'm cleaning, take my toothbrush and finish it out. The reason why it works so much better that way is because now all this stuff is loosened up and I don't have to dig in here with a toothbrush. Now, this whole bottom of the seat is totally clean, and if I want to get inside the perforations, I can just use a little dental cleaning tool or even a toothpick and just barely poke these small little areas. In this particular detail, I'm not going to be doing that because I know, number one, the car seat's going back on top of this. Number two, the customer's not actually paying for that level of detail. So after finishing with the body of this seat, I just want to go back into the seams in particular. Can I see any kind of leftover dirt, grease, grime? And I can in this area of the seams, which is totally normal with a leather seat that a child is sitting in. It's super normal to see a bunch of stuff like this, and you just gotta have to go over it a couple times before it's gonna be totally finished out. And then I wanna go ahead and move on to the back of the seat and push into the middle seat as well, so that when I'm on this side, I am only cleaning the other side of the seat that I can't reach. But before I do that, I wanna highlight this. This is one of those things that's gonna happen inside of a kid's car. In where the seatbelt buckle sits, you've got fabric, right? This is a fabric area. This happens a lot in minivans, SUVs, and you've got debris, dust, all this sort of stuff tucked in this fabric. This is an area that's super easy to clean if you're using a steamer, but you do have to use a bit of chemical because this is an area where dirt, crumbs, drinks, all that stuff gets spilled, gets put, and just totally stuck. I like to leave cleaner sitting there for a second, take my steamer, blast it out. Then I want to scrub pretty hard with my microfiber towel, and that's the easiest way to clean this area. I always reserve cleaning this area area for when I'm cleaning the leather seat. I don't separate it into its own thing. It just makes sense to go ahead and sequence this with the leather seats, and it's totally clean. That fabric looks fantastic. I'll do the same thing on this side, but that's how you want to clean these leather seats in a car where kids are being driven, and you've got a more complicated scenario with the perforated leather, or it even just being leather in the first place. So guys, there's perforated leather seat cleaning 101, doing it safely, effectively, but most importantly, really quickly and getting great results. If you want to check out any of the tools or products, specifically the chemical that I use that's super, super safe, check out the YouTube description box. There'll be links there that lead you to everything. But more importantly than any of that, if you guys got some value from this video, I took a little bit of time out of my interior detail to make sure to post this and waste a little time talking to a camera. So if you got value, hit the like button. It's the only way that I know you got value and you want to keep watching. Thank you guys so much for being involved. And from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, remember, a great detailer is always learning, and I'll see you in the next video.